All right, welcome back to Street Smart. I am Trish Regan. Sony Pictures has a message for news outlets everywhere. Stop disclosing confidential information stolen by hackers. In a letter to news organizations, including Bloomberg News, attorney David Boies says media companies should destroy the information. He also says they should be held responsible for damages from its publication. Joining me right now with more on this story, Bloomberg News reporter Lucas Shaw in Los Angeles, and in D.C., Tom Kellerman, Chief Cybersecurity Officer of Trend Micro. Good to have you guys here. You know, I'm curious, what are people saying about whether or not Sony actually has a case here, Lucas, to stop all this hack reporting?
From everything I've seen, it seems like Sony would not win a case about hacking. You know, I think that there is some, you know, they have something of a case in that certain news outlets have taken too much of this information. They've published stories that are really just salacious. There's not a lot of news value. But when it comes to the First Amendment, you know, these documents are out in the public space. And as far as I can tell, we have every right to report on what they say, especially if it's newsworthy.
You know, you can understand their position. They're saying, gosh, you know, this was obtained in a criminal manner. So are we just, as journalists, then extending that by then getting all that information out there? On the flip side, to your point, you know, you get a First Amendment issue here, and once that information is there and is made available, part of what we do as journalists is to go through it and sort of decipher, you know, what are the key issues. You'll notice, of course, we haven't seen a ton of reporting, for example, Lucas, on the health situation, because that's considered more sensitive.
Right. And I was talking with a friend of mine who's a lawyer, and he said that there's a 2001 court case that involves kind of hackers and the press. And what the court ruled was that while the hackers committed a crime, you can't hold the journalists culpable for the crimes committed by others. You know, we are trying to be very judicious in what we report on and what we don't. I know that kind of my colleagues within Bloomberg did write a story on some of the health records surfacing online, but we have no interest in really publishing too much detail about any of this. You're not seeing us put out Social Security numbers. You know, we're trying to exercise restraint and show as little as possible from these purloined documents.
Yeah, understandably, of course. Let me go to Tom Kellerman for a moment and just talk about Sony's strategy here for dealing with these leaks. I mean, we see that they're trying to fight back through David Boies. Is there anything on the technology side that they can and should be doing to fight back?
Well, realistically here, you have to understand that Sony just has undergone a home invasion of sorts, and so now it's all hands on deck, and they've taken the gloves off by using both technology, legal remedies, and the law enforcement community to go after the adversary. But this unprecedented attack really speaks to the punitive nature of the environment and how, in order to protect your brand, without sufficient cybersecurity, you need to be able to ascertain and leverage all means possible in this situation.
What are some of the executives trying to do there to try and do a little damage control, Lucas? I mean, Amy Pascal, for example, the emails that were released where she was talking about what she might discuss with President Obama at an upcoming Katzenberg breakfast. What kind of damage control can she do at this point?
I think mostly making phone calls to people to soothe any hurt feelings, you know, talking to different agents and executives around town. It sounds like most people will continue to work with Sony. You know, they care more about whatever their next job is and they want to keep working, and Sony is one of the places that can employ them. However, she does have to mend some bridges with some of the people she offended, whether it's the head of a studio, whether it's talent like Kevin Hart, some of those folks. But I think the long-term ramifications will be pretty small, because what most people respond to is the opportunity to work and to make more money.
And I wonder how Angelina Jolie is taking the email about her. Anyway, the moral of the story, it seems to be, Tom Kellerman, that companies probably need to use this as a bit of a wake-up call. We're all extraordinarily fragile in terms of the information that's out there and that can be leaked, and this is a prime example of it.
And to that point, you know, privacy cannot be preserved and protected in today's world without an investment in cybersecurity. And if you're a large brand name organization, you'll be targeted by criminals, nation states, and activists. And many of them may want to do it in a punitive way, much like we've seen here today.
All right, we're going to leave it there. Thank you very much to Lucas Shaw, Bloomberg News, and Tom Kellerman of Trend Micro.